The plot takes place in the future. During this period, conflict is common, and some countries even utilized nuclear weapons, resulting in the deaths of billions of people from nuclear radiation sickness, as well as irreparable harm to nature. Some of them experienced genetic mutation due to radiation and accidentally developed a range of superpowers. The humans with superpowers started using them to loot banks and start riots in order to steal resources. The US government established a giant jail to imprison these criminals in addition to suppressing this army. One late night, a bunch of superpowered individuals were causing trouble in an underground parking area. Suddenly, a powerful guy arrived, carrying 2 guns, and began slaughtering them. This strong man's name is Jack, and while he does not have superpowers, he is a superpower's worst nightmare. Jack's daughter was killed by superpowers a few years ago. Thus, for the last several years, he has been slaying superpowered individuals to revenge on his daughter. By this point, Jack should have killed more than 40 superpowers. Obviously, the gentleman standing in front of us tonight won't live. After the fight, the cops arrived and detained Jack. When the police saw the violent Jack, they immediately transported him to the super jail, which was precisely what Jack desired. Here, he wants to murder people. A youngster called Diaz was one of the prisoners transported with Jack. He has the capacity to feel other people's emotions and share them. Diaz did not harm anyone, but he was falsely accused of going to prison, so he felt suffocated. Superpowered individuals are imprisoned or placed in ankle cuffs, which can block their superpowers in order to prevent riots. A warden standing in front of him is in charge of this facility. He is quite nefarious, loves money, and employs force on the prisoners underneath. The warden has announced his retirement and is attempting to grab some money from the prisoners before he departs. The criminal prisoner Bruce is the focus of the warden. Bruce has the ability to manipulate anything with the power of the mind, even the human brain. He subsequently utilizes this ability to steal billions of dollars. Because a criminal like Bruce has no possibility of obtaining parole, the prison warden explains that as long as Bruce transfers the money to himself, the future warden will not seek for trouble and will maintain the existing special treatment. Bruce did not agree, but he was silently planning his escape. Jack, on the other hand, started fighting with a prisoner as soon as he got there. The man's name is Jim, and his brother was murdered by Jack. The two of them fought each other as adversaries. Without superpowers, Jim's abilities are obviously inferior than Jack's. By the other side of violent beating, only when he was dying did a prison guard step in to stop it and send the two to the infirmary for treatment. After looking at them in the infirmary, Mary, the gorgeous doctor, turned and entered. She was ready to treat Bruce psychologically. Jack appeared directly behind her. He immediately identified Bruce as a violent criminal upon first sight. Jack became enraged right away and made a murderous attempt. Jack strangled Mary next to him before attempting to kill Bruce. Suddenly, Diaz emerged behind him and stepped in to save poor Bruce while waiting for the guards. Diaz's deeds won Bruce's admiration and respect. Bruce had a team of minions because he was the undisputed ruler of the prisoners, and they started to look after Diaz. Gordon, a fellow prisoner, approaches Diaz at this moment and starts chatting with him. We learned from this conversation that Gordon was here during the start of the Supermax jail. Gordon has been requesting parole for years, but sadly it has been denied each time. In fact, it is clear from this position that the US government has always treated persons with superpowers unfairly. There is just no chance for parole for them. Gordon was aware of this, yet he continued to have delusions and hoped that his upcoming parole would be granted. Sadly, the outcome was the same, and his request for parole was once again rejected. Gordon started to feel depressed and lost hope after that. Bruce is still working on his escape strategy. That day at lunchtime, Bruce's assistant handed Gordon an iron object. Gordon used it to break the ankle cuffs, then removed his prison garb, tore the cable recharging his body, recovered his superpower, and destroyed the jail's electrical infrastructure. Gordon appears to have joined Bruce's troops, becoming his right-hand man on the way out of prison. With the electrical system destroyed, the prisoners behaved as if they had received a signal, and the jail erupted in rioting. Of course, the electrical system damage has no effect on the usage of ankle cuffs. Bruce simply made this move. As for the use of this move, it will be described later. Soon after, the warden ordered the deputy warden to start the backup motor quickly in order to restore the electrical system. The next instant, the furious prisoners were electrocuted by the ankle cuffs. They were all taken down and returned to the jail. At this time, Gordon arrived at the hospital. Seeing the open world through the window, he is certain he will succeed in escaping. But the girl guard knocks him to the ground, and she receives orders from the warden to finish him. The girl is forced to do it and uses her fists to bash the man to death. The warden saw the events and concluded that Bruce was most likely preparing for the escape during the disturbance. He noticed Diaz getting close to the other man and assumed they were hiding something. He went up to him and tried to strike a bargain. Unfortunately, Diaz knows nothing. Bruce had just instructed him to listen to his own words and to be obedient in order to go out. After receiving no useful hints from Diaz, the warden went directly to Bruce. He advises him not to think about running away, and that the best course of action is to be completely honest with himself. Bruce changed his mind and decided to work with the warden. He simply needs network access and time, both of which must be supplied by the warden. Hearing this, the warden sarcastically consented to do so. The guards entered the basement to inspect the wire that Gordon had damaged, subsequently ordered the employees to make repairs as the prison's systems were entirely upgraded. Meanwhile, the super jail resumes its normal life, with only Bruce carrying out his plans in silence. In preparation for the jailbreak, he developed a virus program on the tablet computer the warden provided. As time goes on, the warden's retirement date approaches. He arrived at the office with champagne and was really happy. He visits Bruce's cell and asks for a money transfer to his account. Bruce scooped up the tablet with great cooperation and started transferring money. The warden was overjoyed, but he was unaware that Bruce was installing his own malware software while transferring the money. Soon, under the effect of the virus program, the prisoners' ankle cuffs lose their effect. They all regain their superpowers at once, and the prison riots break out. Diaz was warned in advance and went to the hospital to hide, but he could still feel the suffering of the other prisoners. Many thanks to the sexy doctor who quickly consoled him. He managed to make him feel better. After regaining their superpowers, the prisoners lost all self-control and became chaotic. However, the jail warden received a call and learned that there was chaos outside, immediately preparing to go to command. But he discovered that the jail door had been locked. At this point, the warden is still unaware that he is the most crucial component of Bruce's escape plan. When the prison guards are no longer able to stop, he calls the deputy warden to find a solution. The deputy warden said that the entire system was built on a generator, and that restarting the generator would rejoin the ankle cuff system. Hearing this, a jail guard dashed to the basement and prepared to restart the generator. Unexpectedly, a guy with superpowers came up to him at that very moment and engaged in a fight with the guard to prevent him from restarting. Both sides engaged in back and forth combat. The guard saw a pipe at just the right time, breaking it open. A massive amount of hot air poured out of it, burning the superpowered guy to death. Meanwhile, the warden who had finished the backup call sat calmly in front of Bruce, clutching his tablet and smiled at the amount in his account. Bruce snapped at this point. He has a superpower that no one else is aware of. That is, a brain swap. That's right, Bruce did all this to exchange the brain's consciousness with the warden, with the help of his body to open a new life. Bruce is aware that there is only one way for him to be released. Bruce intentionally allowed Gordon to destroy the power system. It gave him the chance to plant a virus when they upgraded the system. It turns out that Gordon was really cannon fodder the entire time. When the warden finally understood everything, it was too late. Bruce has carried out his plan to swap consciousnesses with the warden using his superpowers. Bruce then punched the warden out. The guards were able to turn on the generator, and the shackle system was once again functional. Bruce's cell door was unlocked shortly after that. Bruce strides out and commands the guards to take him to a mysterious room where he will stay forever. The film concludes with Bruce getting his life back, while also getting Diaz and his assistant out of jail. After all, he had warned the two men not to join the brawl from the start, the only method to be eligible for parole. In this way, Bruce borrows the warden's body to begin a new life, and the film ends there.